Now to get started, I would like to introduce our speaker for today, Mr. Kamlesh. Mr. Kamlesh is a TEDx speaker and CTO of Blockchain at Snapper Future Tech. He has 12 years of experience in software development, IT consulting, and blockchain solutions. He is among the top 30 influencers of blockchain in India. He is Hyperledger India Co-Chair and a member of Hyperledger Technical Steering Committee. He drives technical directions, chair of the IEEE Blockchain initiative at IEEE Global level, and is a mentor to blockchain starters incubated by Apiary, a ministry of IT India. Welcome, Mr. Kamlesh, and let's get started.
Yeah, so thank you, Bhavya and Women Who Get community. So it's great to be here. I think the effort you're doing is really incredible. So thanks for that. So let me start my presentation. Okay. So today in particular talk about like blockchain, especially the enterprise blockchain and other digital initiatives, digital economy technologies like DAO, Metaverse, NFTs, CBDC, and that is beyond the cryptocurrency, because I don't believe that much in cryptocurrency. So always talk about the enterprise blockchain and the blockchain beyond the Bitcoin. So let's start with simple definition. So like if we see the characteristics of blockchain, so there are few characteristics, few features provided by blockchain to is kind of security in terms of, because what are the data you are writing is kind of immutable or cryptographically signed and appended to each other in a block. And via this thing, it provides some kind of single source of truth. So like whatever the data is shared across the nodes, all is same, and nobody can tamper and nobody can deny the truth of the data from the different nodes. And now, like suppose the nodes having a distributed database and this single copy of the truth, then it could eliminate the third parties from the ecosystem, and it will bring the new business model or trust and transparency in the business processes. So even similarly, example we can see why like how the payment industry work. While we transfer any money from one account to another account, there are multiple parties get involved. Like for example, in India there is a SWIFT involved, NPCI involved, and other. And all this is required because there is no peer-to-peer trusted system available, and blockchain could help to build that system or maybe build that trust via technology. So that is the basic definition of blockchain. And all this started with Bitcoin white paper in Bitcoin cryptocurrency in 2008, and that was simply peer-to-peer decentralized payment system. Someone can transfer money crypto to each other without involving any third party, and everything is anonymous, and there's a complete security of the transaction. But on that time only there is what only for meant for the peer-to-peer cryptocurrency transaction, but there is no kind of use cases beyond just as a payment system. So in 2018 or 13, Vitalik Buterin started the Ethereum blockchain, and that was to start the kind of programmable blockchain. That means like instead of just as a cryptocurrency transaction, you could do a lot. You could do some kind of a smart contract. You could even record health record. You could record supply chain transaction. You could do digital identity, and all this kind of could be written as a smart contract. So whatever the automation you could bring via the smart contract, that could be can be done on the Ethereum blockchain. And that's the era of starting the kind of decentralized application people call dApps and ICO, STO, and all this kind of, there's lots of new cryptocurrencies could emerge due to programmable and a smart contract feature of blockchain. So from just payment system to the smart contract blockchain, this transaction, but that was all is about the public blockchain, because there is a one common ledger, one public ledger, everyone writing on the same ledger. So, but beyond that, blockchain could offer a lot, and that I will talk about the next, like, because beyond the public blockchain, beyond the cryptocurrency, beyond the NFTs and tokens, there could lot can be done on the blockchain. So if we see the technical what the blockchain offer in terms of the current business system, so like business networks, it provides some kind of connected ecosystem. And if the system is connected ecosystem, that means like you could bring lots of efficiency in a transaction. For example, suppose if your supply chain transaction plus trade finance is connected to each other via some kind of common network, then you could do lots of automation and efficiency in your transactional system. And data is shared across all the participants. So like currently, like most of the business transaction and business process require lots of reconciliation and some kind of data filtering, and because data is captured in different system, and they need some kind of truth, and that truth were given some kind of third-party companies, and that's where lots of reconciliation required. But suppose if the data is shared across all the participants, then it will bring the transparency in the system, because whatever the someone having the data is the exact same copy on the other participant. So nobody can deny the like data is correct or not correct kind of thing. And another thing like smart contracts, so like what are the business process you want to define, that could be defined as a smart contract. For example, suppose take example of insurance, like for example, if flight get delayed, and you can define their time interval. If delayed by 4 hours, you will get maybe 30% your ticket price will be refunded. This kind of thing, and that could be more in some other use cases. Like suppose, for example, in the insurance space, instead of applying for the health insurance, you could directly get this kind of systems activated, and all this transaction is updated in the blockchain via some kind of consensus. So that means some kind of agreement mechanism. So whatever the data is you updating in across the node, that is approved by all the participants in the network. So simply like if you are doing one transaction in the public blockchain like Ethereum or Bitcoin, then all the node in the Bitcoin and Ethereum blockchain will approve your transaction, and then it will be appended to the latest block. And all the transaction is stored in some kind of block, and every block is having the previous block's history and lots of other parameters, like in some kind of Merkle tree structure. And even the transaction itself is written in some kind of cryptographic format, so like SHA-256 or any other cryptographic algorithm as per the blockchain protocols. So there are lots of security and immutability using the blockchain. And the same ledger is distributed across the nodes. So there is no single copy or single database. Exact same copy is distributed across all the nodes. So there's the same ledger, there's a distributed ledger. So if, and it also adds a new benefit, like if suppose one particular node crashes down, you will get the data from another node. And if one node is hacked or corrupt, then there's another copy of in the different node is available to use it. Okay. So I just mentioned like the Bitcoin and Ethereum was just the start, but there are many such public blockchains now available. Like Algorand is there, there's a Cardano, there is a Polygon, quite popular in India. There is a Binance, there is Avalanche, and I think Near blockchain. I think many such public blockchains are available, and all these blockchain provide different tool and development environment to write and build your dApps kind of thing. And generally mostly people prefer and build on some kind of EVM based blockchain like Ethereum, like Binance, like Polygon, and other blockchains. So that is a public blockchain thing. But I was just mentioning like there's a lot these features which discussed in the previous slide, like the immutability, trust and transparency, security, connected ecosystem could also derive lots of use cases and lots of different enterprise use cases, and that's why in the Hyperledger and Coda and Quorum get started after the Ethereum protocol. to address the enterprise use cases and enterprise solution, because like enterprises, banks, or government not going to write the data on some kind of public blockchain. So they thought like how the technology could be used just beyond the public blockchain or beyond the crypto, but how it could be used in terms of real world problems. So being that Codeize is started by R3, and R3 is a consortium of a number of different financial services and banks, and is especially designed for some kind of solving the financial services problem with a cross-border payment or payments or maybe insurance kind of thing. And Hyperledger, founded by the Linux Foundation, which is an open source foundation to build a number of different open source platforms, like started by Linux itself. And now it has multiple open source projects, including Hyperledger, including OpenSSF, cloud native computing, JavaScript, Node.js is part of that Linux Foundation. And Hyperledger is mainly designed to address the enterprise use cases and how the technology could address the different use cases, and using the different blockchain frameworks available in the Linux Foundation community. And Quorum is started by JP Morgan. It was a Ethereum's enterprise version. So like Ethereum is quite popular. So how Ethereum itself could be started to use in some kind of enterprise use cases. So even Ethereum itself started the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance to address the particular enterprise use cases. So Quorum is one of the enterprise version of the Ethereum to use the Ethereum tech stack and same tech stack to build the enterprise driven use cases. So I give some more lights on the Hyperledger thing. So Hyperledger has a multiple projects, and every project has a different characteristic and different way of solving a problem. So if you see the above 6 different protocol is actually DLTs, some kind of proper blockchain like Ethereum, and it addresses the different characteristics and problems. So like Besu is a Ethereum enterprise version like Quorum, and even like now Besu is a combination of Quorum itself, because Quorum is acquired by the Consensus, the company behind the Besu. And then Hyperledger Bureau, which is a Ethereum enterprise version. Like if there is need to run the Solidity smart contract on a Hyperledger environment, then you could run on a Hyperledger Bureau framework. Then Hyperledger Fabric, which is very quite popular in the enterprise space, where you could design any kind of use cases from identity management to supply chain to banking to CBDC, because it was purely designed in some kind of plug and play manage with privacy support, like private data, like channels, and lots of configuration in terms of like whether you want to use Java, whether you want to use JavaScript or Node.js. All this kind of is plug and play manner, and is built with a number of different components. So this architecture is pluggable itself. So like for example, suppose if you want to use a certificate authority of your existing system that you can use, whether you want to use your own database, you can connect that one. And if you want to use your existing tech stack, that you can also do it. So, and then ND, which is a quite popular for the identity management, digital credential and verifiable credential kind of solution. And then IRHA, which is the protocol to address the specific very lightweight protocol. And the popular use case is one of the CBDC built in Bank of Cambodia. Satut, that was specific for supply chain solution, and it has a specific feature, like it uses the Intel's SGX family's clock time as a block cut consensus mechanism. And below all these libraries and tools and some kind of domain specific thing, and Hyperledger Labs even to build some kind of libraries and tools around this protocols above, which you could usually use and build your solution very easily. Like for example, if you want to build some kind of a DID or verifiable credentials, then you can use Aries library, which is some wrapper around the around the blockchain. So you don't need to be worried about how the backend is working. You can simply connect and use the Aries library and build the identity management application. And there are multiple things like Quilt, some interoperable solution, and there's a Cactus is similar space where it will bring the different interoperability solution between the different blockchains. Caliper is benchmarking kind of tool where if you want to measure your performance of your network, then you could use the Caliper, and many other tools like Celo for deployment perspective. Elon is some kind of privacy mechanism in the existing blockchains. Ursa is some kind of cryptographic plug and play manner. Like for example, currently mostly blockchain use the SHA-256, but there are many other cryptographic algorithms available like MD5, and there are many even the geographic constraints also. Like suppose China and Japan have the different consensus mechanism for their government solution. So Ursa is trying to address that particular space. Like you don't need to change the protocol itself while you need the different consensus, different cryptographic algorithms. You can use simply Ursa libraries for that one, and many other different initiatives in the Hyperledger labs for like token interoperability and many other initiatives. So Hyperledger Fabric is quite popular because it uses plug and play and industry specific features for the enterprise blockchains, and that's why all the major cloud offer is a service on their different cloud offering. So that was in general about the blockchain history. It started from the cryptocurrency Bitcoin to till enterprise blockchain framework like Hyperledger, RC, and Quorum. In the next couple of slides, I will talk about what is the opportunity for businesses and enterprises. So if you see this latest Gartner graph, it says like blockchain is going to the kind of scope of enlightenment, the different things. Like if you understand the this Gartner graph, every technology will go through this particular thing, and it will go to the this peak of inflated expectation, and then it will getting mature and then become real life technology kind of thing. So if you see the different blockchain technology, like suppose starting with a decentralized web or exchanges, smart contracts, layer 2 blockchains. Like for example, you can clearly now understand like how the Polygon is mature so much. Binance is there. It's kind of some layer 2 blockchains. And decentralized identity, where the solution, I think there are a couple of live production solution in Europe, in Canada, to this thing. And DeFi is a kind of decentralized finance. And now, and similar way, it will go to the other things. So like suppose cryptocurrency now is a very normal, it's kind of become a mainstream for most of the countries and most of the economies. So this way, this is a blockchain will go through this kind of Gartner graph, and you can see that thing. And how the other different reports, whether World Economic Forum or Gartner or IDC says about the blockchain thing. So like by 2027, like this is a bit old report, but it said like by 2027, the 10% of global GDP will be running on blockchain kind of thing. And Gartner says like by 2030, it could be running around $3 trillion economy on blockchain, and 10% of GDP will be stored on blockchain. This is the World Economic Forum report, and I think 25% of the banks want to use blockchain. I think maybe this data will get updated. This is a PwC report, and says like how the different economies are accepting blockchain and building the blockchain ecosystem. And if you see like by 2030, it could become around 1.76 trillion global economy, and China will be lead the particular this space, and then India is also quite good, around $62 billion by 2030. And this report from Deloitte, which says like how the executives or CXOs see the blockchain as an integral part of their digital transformation initiative. So year by year, if you see that 3 years report, like 18 to 20, every year this particular their intention or their strategy to adopt the blockchain for their transformation initiative, it's increasing. And not just the private, but I think all the government or different countries have their own blockchain strategy. So like even India also announced last year about the India National Blockchain Strategy, where addressing the digital infrastructure for blockchain for the India and build some applications on top of the layers. And similarly, the Australia, China, EU have a very good blockchain strategy and mostly use the Hyperledger projects in this thing. US also started. Dubai is a plan to the Dubai 2030 to be paperless digital economy, and uses blockchain in lots of different initiatives. And this is I just said this 6-7 countries, but there's a lot. The similar story for other countries too. And this particular data about the Forbes Blockchain 50. So Forbes actually every year it releases top 50 companies above the $1 billion revenue, and who are running a blockchain-based production system. So, and this is the latest report of last year. So you can see the different companies and different sectors using blockchain from BHP to for Cargill to IBM, Samsung, Oracle, Microsoft, Musk, which is a digital trade finance kind of solution, Boeing in airlines. So if you go through this particular slide, you can understand like cryptocurrency was just the use case. It is more beyond the cryptocurrency, and every sector has a use case for blockchain. It could be from media and communication to retail and CPG, travel and transport, government, real estate, agriculture, education, supply chain, and I think. And now I think we can find success stories or some production deployment in every use case here. Cross-border payment, trade finance. There are multiple platforms available, and banks are using the trade finance solutions. Supply chain, like Walmart is a bigger example, and sustainable supply chain. Many startups are building and having a solution for sustainability and blockchain. Educations like IIT Kanpur and many such different initiatives by the education industry to adopt the blockchain. Micro-credential platform now uses the blockchain. Media communications like loyalty program is a bigger use case there, and even NFT and Metaverse, there are lots of use cases in the media and communication. Agriculture like seed traceability, food traceability. Even recently, National Seed Corporation of India is started and roll out the plan to adopt the blockchain in the seed traceability or vaccine traceability. And I think similar we can see in the governments like digital identity and like birth registration, death registration, digital voting. I got to know like even IIT Madras is having a IIT Madras is working on some kind of digital voting on blockchain, and it could be reality in next 2-3 years. CBDC is a larger use cases, and almost 100+ countries are using and building on CBDC. I will have a proper slide about the CBDC. So I just said like it's beyond crypto, and there are more, right? Tokenization, NFT, and DAO, CBDC, Metaverse, and all in a enterprise perspective. There could be some use case for the consumer where like still NFT people create on a NFT of your, even like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram having a NFT is a tool. So I think this tokenization could bring lots of things in terms of blockchain perspective, like how you could design and define your new innovative business model or new way of solving a security and kind of traceability solution. So, and I think NFT, CBDC, loyalty reward point, all is some kind of some form of tokenization. So there are multiple token format like ERC22, ERC 721, ERC 1155. So if you see this simple in terms of token is some kind of digital representation of an asset, and that asset could be anything. It could be a virtual asset, like, or it could be physical asset like real estate. It could be money. It could be your art. It could be anything. And is kind of, and it give lots of benefit in terms of kind of digitization of assets. So, and increasing asset liquidity, because if you have some form of token, then you can easily trade the tokens, and that's why the blockchain is started as a cryptocurrency, because they see the bigger use case in terms of liquidity of asset and kind of cross-border payments. And then tokenization is a form of many use cases. Like one is NFT. So NFT is some kind of non-fungible token, which is a digital representation of asset with a unique ID. And NFT cannot be owned by two people at the time, because you can't you uh, you can't divide the NFTs in multiple parts, and also like you can't exchange the NFT with something else, because it's like a unique thing. So, and it's example, like suppose if you have tokenize your art is a kind of your NFT, so there is unique characteristics of a particular that art. There are multiple use cases in the business and enterprise perspective. So like there's a art and collectibles were just the start. So there are more use cases in terms of representing the digital identity or representation of the real words as a value, and then you can authenticate and trace the particular asset. And they're like digital twins of your assets, and then ownership, you can prove your ownership of your asset using the NFT. So there is a lot use cases in terms of enterprise perspective. So even we are working with some customer where we have some kind of real world asset as an NFT on our supply chain platform. So like for example, it could be luxury watch as an asset. So you simply just transfer the NFT and you transfer the ownership of your luxury watch. And these are some kind of use cases in the enterprise, like there's a fashion, the luxury brand, real estate, digital identity. In this ESG and climate is very good use cases where you could tokenize a carbon footprint and carbon offset, and that could be traded as a carbon credit tokens. So all this kind of as a enterprise use cases. This is some kind of another way of running a business, or kind of bringing the lots of autonomous while running a systems, so called DAO, decentralized autonomous systems. So here, like currently any organization or decision making done by some kind of human intervention or some kind of authorities, but in a DAO is a kind of automatic system where someone having a token, someone having a voting rights can decide the smart contracts execution, or some kind of you can say on-chain governance. It could be just not just distributing a token, but it could be anything. Like so, for example, like even I interacting with the United Nations UNICEF initiative. So there's some kind of initiative to use the DAO system to allocate and release the fund for the projects who are working in the social sector, this kind of thing. And there are a couple of use cases like proposal education, funding for decentralized projects, crowdfunding, NFT-based investing, metaverse design, climate change. So all in the climate change, for example, like suppose if there is one renewable energy project, and how you will determine like how much carbon footprint it's saving. Like anybody can claim what, it could be anything. So using blockchain, using DAO, if all the relevant parties agrees on on-chain governance about the particular renewable energy project, then it could issue the tokens accordingly. So in the Hyperledger community, we are working in the climate change, climate action accounting (SIG), where we are using the DAO system to issue tokens, issue carbon credit tokens, while when some set of stakeholder approve the particular project that way, and it could be used in any sector. And but here I would have mentioned the DAO system is DAO system working in the cryptocurrency or DeFi space. But here in the light, I mentioned the Climate DAO and Climate DAO. These are the two different DAO system for in the climate space. That uses the blockchain and DAO system to issue the carbon credit tokens on the basis of the governance done on the on-chain. And not just this thing, but DAO itself because has a larger use cases just beyond the token distribution and token governance, but lot can be done. But I think this is in the future. But like it could be marketplace token across supply to logistics and distribution center kind of thing. CBDC, which is I think hot topic nowadays. I will be talking about it. Even like India also plan to start the plan to roll out the own CBDC by this year. I think as per the finance ministry. So they are working on some kind of central bank digital currency to cross-border payments or some issuing a digital tokens. So and it offers lots of things how it is beneficial. So it's a digital form of money and which will be traded and backed by central bank. Is simply we can say is some kind of central bank cryptocurrency we can say, but it will is a backed and run by central banks. And if you see the adoption across globe, more than 100 plus countries, central banks having a initiative of CBDC. Some are in the production, some are in the research. You can see the class wise, like Central Bank of Bahamas, European Caribbean Central Bank, and National Bank of Cambodia, Reserve Bank of India, some pilot announced, and Bank of England. I think all this having the CBDC projects in place, whether they are some are in research space, some are in pilot space, or some are in production. So if you go to the cbdctracker.in, you can find out like what is the current status. And metaverse. So I think now like AR, VR is some virtual reality. How you could do your business virtually and lots of things. So whether it's entertainment, whether it's some kind of branding, fashion, lots of use cases in metaverse. So and this is very interesting. Recently on the Times magazine, it was like into the metaverse. The next digital era will change everything. So why I put this one, because like Times magazine generally don't put such things regularly. So when they talk about it, they mean to a lot. So the similar thing like 30 years before they put about the internet, like how the internet will change the world, and now we can see the reality. Similar thing for the metaverse, like it could be more use cases around the virtual world using AR, VR, digital asset, blockchain. So all what we see, the NFT, digital asset, or tokenization, decentralized ledger, all could provide the many meaningful use cases in the metaverse environment. And metaverse is built using a couple of things, like there's a AR, VR, augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, and then Web3 and virtual asset like NFT and digital asset, tokens, all could play on a metaverse environment. And number of use cases across entertainment to education. In education, like simply like how the AR, VR, and blockchain could use in some kind of education of the maybe medical or maybe some kind of like automation in factories, or some like someone no need to go to the office of manufacturing company. They can experience the factory itself from remotely. And lots of thing in a retail space like offices, even like HSBC and Nike and many started their office in metaverse. So because like still we do lots of shopping on Amazon or Flipkart, right? So but still they are only seeing the product and just buying it. But if you see and there's some environment where we can feel and try it and then make an order directly there and use our digital tokens kind of thing. And even on it as ownership of that asset in some as an NFT. So lots of this kind of use cases are there, and that's why the metaverse NFTs play very important role. So even like Decentraland and maybe Sandbox as a metaverse environment, they uh, owning the or maybe allocating the land is itself the NFT format. So whatever the land you get in a Decentraland or maybe a Sandbox, it is a some form of NFT, because you kind of defining some coordinate, and their coordinate is assigned as an NFT to you while you buying some land on a decentralized virtual world. So, and not just the platform, but lots of use cases from NFT like assets or maybe brands or buying the things, all could be as a NFTs. And it's big, it's big. So in the metaverse, I think recently Google, HTC, and a couple of companies started the metaverse standard forums, and I think it's even 2 months old data. So on that time, the 650 members are part of this metaverse standard format, so could bring the metaverse standardization interoperable across the platform. So this is for, and maybe it could now have more numbers. And if you see the reality and some kind of projects and predictions, so it could be become $10 trillion economy by 2034, and that's why like Facebook changed its name to Meta, or Nvidia is announced some kind of Omniverse. Microsoft acquired the Activision because it's a gaming or some kind of virtual gaming kind of thing. So lots of things happening on a metaverse perspective. And this is kind of how someone transition from Web 1 to Web 3 and Web 2 and Web 3. So in the earlier days in the internet, there is a ID password to access the resources, and then Web 2 comes where you could use social media and use as a login to the other platform, and lots of set. But in Web 2, all the data is monetization by the some Web 2 companies like Facebook or like Google, like Twitter. But in the Web 3 space, like it can some kind of decentralized environment or decentralized application where you own your data, you own your assets, and that way. So this is all about my presentation. So like, let me talk about my company. So we are based in India, Pune, and one office in Dublin. We have blockchain product and services and training. So we in blockchain products, we have two products. Like one is a snapshot, digital credential. Another is a Trustchain, is a sustainable asset tracking and provenance platform using even NFTs to there. And we are working with number of customer in terms of supply chain, land records. We work with the AP government in 2017 for their land digitization. Currently working with Malaysia government for land records, and couple of customers working with one of the US customer for the DAO platform for the fintech space, and working with one customer in food traceability in UAE. And we also having a one training initiative under the brand name like Indian Blockchain Institute, where we are partner with NASCOM to offer the blockchain programs, and doing interesting programs with different corporate or working professional. And we have self-recorded program to in-person training programs for a student to tell corporate for capability building. And we are recently we are the best blockchain startup in fintech by STPI. We are incubated in the Apiary, which is a COE Center of Excellence in Blockchain by Ministry of IT and Telecommunication and STPI. We are Hyperledger certified service provider. We are Hyperledger training partner. We are incubated in the Aditya Birla group, and we are recently we won one of the hackathon in the sustainable finance in the IFSCA, which is a International Financial Services Centers Authority in Gandhinagar, Gujarat, Gift City. And this is about me. So I do a lot in terms of blockchain community, part of the Hyperledger, part of the India chapter, of Hyperledger, also part of the IEEE blockchain, and currently also mentoring the blockchain startup which are incubated at Apiary, which is Ministry of IT and Telecommunication Initiative, STPI. And that's it. Thank you. So any question?
It was a very interesting session, Kamlesh sir. Thank you so much. We'll take any questions that our audience might have right now. You can drop your questions either in the chat or in the Q&A box that you can see in the Zoom controls.
Maybe in between I can ask a question. So
sure. Yeah.
I saw that you are part of Hyperledger India, right? So maybe you can tell us how one can participate and learn from there, or what initiatives are there and one could join.
Okay. So in Hyperledger India, actually it's kind of regional chapters by Hyperledger. So there are kind of we have every week Thursday 3 p.m. India time meeting. So anybody can join. It's open for all. And we do lots of events and hackathon, or Breeze actually gave between, like, suppose what Hyperledger doing, because like we represent also TSC for the new kind of projects coming, or also kind of create or maybe help the other people to become a open source contributor to the Hyperledger projects. So lots of education, and even we also started some kind of as an institute or university level, some kind of local chapters. So if someone want to start their local chapters of India chapter in their respective colleges, it could also we are doing. So it's got lots of in terms of education perspective, or even we do run some kind of success stories event every year where we invite blockchain startups in India, what they are doing in this space. And I think it's open. It's open for anything. I think even we also need the volunteer to help us.
Yeah, okay, so I have a question from the audience. So they're asking if there's a course for same, any course around Hyperledger or Fabric by the organization.
By my organization?
Yeah.
So I think we don't have a recorded program, but we do the kind of in-person or virtual training for the Hyperledger also, because we are a Hyperledger certified service product. So we have Hyperledger programs too.
Okay, so are there any courses, like open source courses, that you would recommend for our community members so that can help them in learning?
Okay, so I will recommend to some Hyperledger programs. So even you can go to the EDX website of the Hyperledger, and there are many free even free courses, like introduction to Hyperledger technologies, or introduction to business blockchain technologies, and then there are some free courses like how to create your digital identity solution using the Aries and Indy. So all these programs are free, and I think is you just need to pay if you want some certification on top of the program. Else it is free to access.
Great, that's great.
Yeah, correct.
You say that rightly. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, I would like to get some view of yours on public and private blockchains. So what do you think in coming years it would be more towards public or private? Because I see in the Germany people are tending more towards private blockchains, and yeah, it seems to me that getting into so students who are coming from universities or like outside of Germany, they prefer, I guess, public blockchains, or start learning from the public blockchains, and then when they land up in the company, it seems that it's more of a private blockchains going on. So technological perspective plus the business perspective. So what are your views on that?
So my views are because I started my blockchain career with enterprise or private blockchain only from the Hyperledger or Hyperledger Fabric, being a part of the IBM team. So even I also believe the same. So in the future or in the private blockchain is going to lead all the things, because in public blockchain you could do some kind of NFTs or other things, some kind of thing, but government and regulations, banks, central banks not allowing or not. I think this because it will impact the economies. If like suppose CBDC will be announced running on a Ethereum or maybe Polygon, I think it's not a right use case or right thing to do. So so that is a business perspective. So in the business or government perspective, the private blockchain will lead. So whatever the initiative in India is happening, all the government are using some kind of private blockchain only. Whether it's a Tamil Nadu e-governance, whether it's a Karnataka governance, whether it's a NPCI, whether it's some central banks. So all is planning to use and using the only Hyperledger or some kind of private blockchain. Nobody is going to use in the services on public blockchain. So public blockchain is mainly for people like NFTs or some kind of consumer facing kind of solutions. But like supply chain or digital identity, government, all will be on a private blockchain. So now in terms of the development perspective, so starting and learning the public blockchain is very easy, because you just need to run the solidity and a smart contract, and you can run easily on the running live network via some kind of JavaScript frameworks, Web3.js kind of thing. So learning the blockchain and starting career blockchain in public blockchain is very easy, but long term, I think getting started in a Hyperledger or something private blockchain is very important, because organizations, government will use the blockchain only. But learning perspective, because blockchain is so much complex, I suppose if someone want to understand learn the Hyper fabric, they need to learn a lot, and not just the kind of only writing a smart contract in Solidity and Go. You need to learn the Docker, Kubernetes, and even the governance perspective, and lots of cryptography, and lots of different languages. So that learning path is very critical, and even after learning is running and maintaining a private network is so much tough compared to, because in public blockchain you are not running anything, you are just writing a contract and deploying on some running blockchain, even your test and deployment dev environment too. So that is very easy to run, easy to maintain, or easy to learn. But in the Hyperledger thing or maybe private blockchain, there are a lot you need to learn, like whether it's a Hartree Coda or whether it's a Quorum or Fabric. So career perspective, I think going in a private blockchain is the right thing, but learning from the day one is a fabric is very complex.
Yeah, I mean, I personally see that I started from Ethereum and now I switched to like EOS.io blockchain, which was like kind of unknown to me, and suddenly I came across it. So yeah, that's what I wanted audience to also know, that it's quite challenging to just think like, okay, I start my own blockchain, but there are a lot of other factors to be considered.
Correct. So lots of things, not just the only you need to do lot, because it's a completely IT system. There is a network, there is a node, there is a container technology, there is a even governance. So you need to learn a lot of things to do that.
So just a follow-up question, like even I started my journey with Hyperledger Fabric, but through these discussions and webinars that I host, I see a lot of like acceptance issues with private blockchain, because people do not consider it truly decentralized. So now there's a discussion if we can come through to a middle ground of public and private blockchain, wherein we can bring in the element of regulation to public blockchain, but still maintain the anonymity. Like private blockchain, we have to compromise on anonymity, right? Because identity becomes an issue.
No, but like suppose government, why they need a anonymity, right? They need a actual transparency, right?
Correct.
They're not going to use the public blockchain. So I see like there are use cases in the public blockchain where we need the actual like some NFTs kind of space, or some kind of new tokens, some DeFi thing. But there is a regulatory issue there. But in the private blockchain, like it's a normal technology. It features try to address some particular efficiency or some automation issues kind of thing.
Okay. Got it. So I think it depends on the use case and the industry as well, like which is preferable.
Yeah, right.
I think we need to deeply study the use case.
Correct. So even now even there's a concept coming now, hybrid blockchain. So in the there's a cactus, there is a couple of different blockchain kind of solution. So like people how they are using it. Like suppose the particular data and particular record which you can't store on public thing, there people are using on a private blockchain like Hyperledger or R3 or Quorum kind of things, and the rest part of the data or some kind of, suppose if you want to tokenize and trade in some secondary market, then people are using that data and tokenizing in a public blockchain. So even we did a couple of projects like where people were like, suppose we record all the information record on a private blockchain and then using that data points to create a tokens on a public blockchain like Polygon, because we need this token to be traded in some marketplace. That's it.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So just adding to this answer, what I saw from last 2 years is the companies getting into public blockchain. So the main two reasons everyone afraid is who is going to take the liability of if anything goes wrong, right? Mm-hmm. And the second one is setting up the infrastructure cost, maintaining it. So, and like Bhavya said, the privacy issues. Yeah. So I think things are coming up like ZKP and everything, but still it seems quite in the future.
Correct. And the other thing like scalability also issue, right? Even they claim like you could use POS or other algorithms and you could achieve, but like for example, suppose if every word is writing on the same ledger, then how it will scale, right? Like for example, suppose if like India's payment transaction running on a Polygon or maybe Ethereum, and itself can't sustain because like India will be doing billion transactions month. And that's not possible on a kind of any public blockchain.
Yeah.
And suppose all the country running on the same ledger, then it's not possible.
I think we'll just have to wait and see how the ZK EVM that they've launched works out. I think that's one step towards scalability, but eventually we'll only know once it's tested out. I think public blockchain has been promoted a lot because they got a lot of developer support as well. Like the community grew faster because it was easy to adopt as compared to private blockchain. But eventually it will all depend on use cases is what I feel.
Correct. I think public blockchain get popularity in terms of because there are so much money like from ICO to STO and NFT nowadays.
Yeah.
And easy to learn, easy to get into.
Correct. Like the accessibility definitely.
Yeah. In private blockchain is lots of things, and it's still a kind of finding a use case and business model around it. It's challenging.
Correct. Yeah, even when I was working, like we had to like struggle a lot in terms of figuring out how to like monetize the certification authority in the first place. So I think there are a lot of elements to private blockchain, and the adoption curve will be like kind of less steep, and it will be like slower development in that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, great. In case we don't have any further questions, we'll close the session for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. And thank you, Mr. Kamlesh, for your time. It was great having you. And you can, people who are willing to join our community can join through the links shared in the chat. You can follow us on all social medias and join our Slack channel for updates about future events. Thank you. Have a nice rest of the week. Thank you.
Yeah.